Here we go. The moment you stand in front of the Renault Galion R2165 from 1957, you immediately feel that this truck was never designed to impress with brute size or overwhelming power. It was built for something far more important in post-war France, to carry the country on its back, day after day, through narrow village streets, fields, industrial yards, and crowded markets. This modest 2.5-ton truck became one of the silent heroes of French Reconstruction. And today we're going to explore what made it so loved, so respected, and sometimes so stubbornly challenging to own. The first thing you notice is its unmistakable French shape. Every curve of the cab looks almost handmade, like a piece of industrial art with a personality of its own. The tall grille, the round headlights, and the sloping windshield make it look friendly, almost charming, as if the truck itself were greeting you with a polite bonjour. But don't let its soft face deceive you. Behind that gentle appearance hides a machine built to work without rest, with a durability that only a few trucks of the 1950s could offer. For thousands of small businesses, farmers and craftsmen, the Gallion was not just a truck, it was a partner. Under the bonnet, the Gallion R2165 carried a diesel engine with a displacement of 2.38 liters, approximately 145 cubic inches. It was a simple 4-cylinder design producing 58 horsepower and delivering a torque of 127 newton meters, approximately 94 pound-feet. These numbers may look tiny today, but in 1957 they reflected the exact philosophy behind the Gallion: reliable low-speed pulling power, low fuel consumption, and absolute mechanical simplicity. The engine ran smoothly even when badly maintained, and it was known for starting in cold weather with surprising confidence for an early diesel. Owners often joked that the Gallion had 2 speeds, slow and slower, but it always moved, no matter what. The truck's transmission was a 4-speed manual, light, straightforward, and geared for pulling rather than speed. On a good day, empty and on level ground, the Gallion could reach around 70 to 75 kilometers per hour, approximately 43 to 47 miles per hour. But let us be honest, no one bought this truck to set speed records. Fully loaded with its 2,500 kilogram payload, approximately 5,511 pounds, the Gallion moved steadily like a determined farmer crossing a muddy field. It never hurried, never complained, and never pretended to be something it wasn't. If you needed a truck that would do exactly what you asked of it and then quietly wait for the next task, this was the one. Driving the Gallion was an experience full of character. The cab was narrow, tall, and placed close to the front axle, which meant you felt every bump, every pothole, and every cobblestone through your entire body. The steering was heavy at low speeds, and the pedals required a firm, confident foot. But once you got used to its rhythm, the Gallion became surprisingly pleasant to drive. Visibility from the large windshield was excellent, and the turning radius was good enough to navigate tight courtyards and village alleys where bigger trucks simply could not go. Mechanics often praised the accessibility of components. You could service almost everything with basic tools, which made the Gallion extremely popular in rural areas. The suspension followed the truck's practical philosophy. At the front, it used torsion bars, while the rear axle sat on traditional leaf springs. The ride was stiff, let's not hide it, and after hours on rough roads, the driver would definitely feel it in the spine. But stiffness had its advantages. Even at full load, the truck maintained decent stability, and its simple suspension was nearly unbreakable. Many Gallions continued working into the 1970s and even 1980s, long after their paint had faded and their wooden beds had been replaced more than once. One of the Gallion's greatest strengths was its efficiency. Fuel consumption averaged around 12 to 14 liters per 100 kilometers, approximately 17 to 20 miles per gallon, an impressive figure for a mid-century diesel truck. At a time when fuel prices were rising and transport margins were tight, this economy kept many small companies alive. But the truck did have weaknesses. The low power meant that steep hills could become a slow, smoky challenge, especially with a full load. The cab was cramped, loud, and offered minimal insulation, which made long journeys exhausting. And the brakes, drum brakes on all wheels, worked well when properly adjusted, but required constant attention. Still, these imperfections became part of the Gallion's character. It was a truck for people who didn't need luxury, only honesty. It hauled tools, timber, fruit, machinery, and anything else that fit in its bed. It served firefighters, farmers, road workers, and small shops. When Saviem took over Renault's truck division in 1955, the Gallion continued unchanged because there was simply nothing to fix. It already did its job perfectly. Visually, the Gallion R2165 is one of those trucks that instantly transport you back in time. Standing next to it, you notice how small and compact it really is by modern standards. At 5.20 meters in length, approximately 17.1 feet, 2.10 meters in width, approximately 6.8 feet, and around 2.3 meters in height, approximately 7.5 feet, it feels almost friendly, like a working companion, rather than an industrial giant. This sense of approachable machinery is what made the Gallion beloved among its owners. Many spoke about it like an old friend, a companion that never left them on the side of the road. The truck's rear-wheel drive layout, combined with dual rear wheels, gave it dependable traction for its size. On muddy farm paths or wet cobblestone streets, the Gallion stayed composed. It was not an off-roader, but it handled poor roads far better than many larger trucks. Even today, restored examples often start and drive with surprising smoothness, a testament to the mechanical quality Renault engineers built into the Gallion. When you listen to the sound of the engine, you hear a steady, rhythmic diesel beat. Not loud, not aggressive, just consistent, like the heartbeat of a machine that knows its purpose. Owners from the period often described this sound as comforting. It signaled that the day's work was beginning, and that the truck, as always, was ready. If you look at the cabin interior today, you'll see an extremely simple layout. A metal dashboard, basic switches, a thin steering wheel, and seats that provide only as much comfort as absolutely necessary. This minimalism was not a design flaw, but a conscious choice. By reducing unnecessary complexity, Renault ensured the truck could be repaired almost anywhere. In a barn, in a workshop, or even at the side of the road with only a few tools. And perhaps the most impressive thing is how many Gallions survived. These trucks were never treated gently, yet many of them continued working for decades. Their longevity earned them a legendary reputation among French craftsmen and collectors. The Renault Galion R2165 may not have been the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest truck of its time, but it was one of the most sincere. It represented an era when machines were built with heart and when reliability mattered more than power. It carried the weight of everyday life, literally, and became a symbol of French resilience and craftsmanship. If you enjoy discovering rare machines with real history and soul, make sure to subscribe. Ahead of us are many more stories about the trucks that shaped our world.